Sophie, till late in the third quarter, you guys were struggling offensively in that frame. Second half in general didn't feel the same as the first half on that end. Did something change for you guys? What did you see as kind of leading to stalling on that end?
Yeah, I think we were just kind of slow. And every time that we're slow, especially defensively, it just somehow affects our offense.
How does a team lose a 13-point lead and cause an internal crisis in one night? After the Indiana Fever's embarrassing loss to one of the league's poorest teams, Coach Stephanie White blamed a stagnant offense. However, her teammates told a different narrative. Sophie Cunningham's honest post-game comments highlighted a team that had lost its fight, identity, and edge. This wasn't simply a loss. The game was lost due to a questionable coaching choice, highlighting a significant gap between the players' efforts and the leadership's direction.
Above her head is Cunningham with a steal. Cunningham feeds Sims, who goes coast to coast and lays it in. So
they had to make sure they had the right shot clock time as well while they were reviewing that.
So Indiana with a 10-point lead here. 6 minutes until halftime as Boston finds some space and knocks it down. Now Sims launches ahead for Mitchell. What a pass by Odyssey Sims.
It's up to the chat. Get excited! Why at the same time? Because I'm you and you're me. We switch parties. Zub's in the chat!
Initially, Indiana appeared to have an easy night. In the first half, they dominated with a 13-point lead that seemed insurmountable. Eli Boston was a dominant player in the paint, demanding double teams and finishing with authority. Kelsey Mitchell was not merely a scorer. She was a true playmaker. She expertly analyzes the Mystics' defense and strategically positions her teammates. The Fever played with the confidence of a playoff-bound squad, with the ball moving and active defense. They were dominating the game, ignoring the other audience, and displaying their superiority. Despite the dominant performance, a cataclysmic collapse was looming, threatening to unravel everything in an instant.
The Buckeyes.
Here is the Buckeye product on a backdoor pass, but Mitchell lost the handle. Sutton thought about the three, steps in, Hull got a piece. Dolson has been wide open all possession, splashes home a three, and we are level at 47. It into Boston. Hand off Mitchell. Indiana has to hurry. Lob back for Boston. Boston finishes. It's a 2-point game, 5.9 seconds remain.
They lost their footing quickly. Washington's devastating 22-7 run not only erased Indiana's advantage, but also stole their will. The confident offensive quickly became stale and predictable. The aggressive defense became sloppy and undisciplined. The Fever led to 26 free throws for the Mystics. Almost every possession resulted in a turnover or late rotation foul. This was not a masterclass in Washington. It was a masterclass in self-destruction. Washington's rookies exacerbated the situation. Sonia Citron and Kiki Afen demonstrated veteran-like calmness, scoring over 40 points and exposing Indiana's mistakes. Watching a young, struggling team shred your lead is not only a loss, but also an embarrassment.
With 5 off the bench, Indiana has 8 first-quarter bench points. That's typically been a strength when they're playing well, as Iriafen just bullies her way inside. Now Citron being guarded by Lexi Hull. Hull goes over the screen, defends her really well. Citron just has to fire it up, and a circus shot for
The offense came to a standstill, resulting in a predictable pattern of Kelsey Mitchell driving into traffic. Indiana ignored an obvious remedy. Chloe BBY is the team's top 3-point shooter, averaging 42% from beyond the arc. When the attack lacked spacing and needed a spark, BBY proved to be the ideal weapon. Spreading the floor with her shooting would have caused Washington's defense to extend, creating driving lanes for Mitchell and giving Boston more space to work inside. She remained on the bench collecting splinters while her squad drowned, missing out on any action. The most perplexing choice of the night pointed squarely at the coach.
Looking, finds Mitchell, launches a corner three, it won't go, rebound Aiksler, and this young Washington Mystics group who continues to impress. throughout this season. And Sydney Johnson in his first year comes up with a big win on the road.
On their ball screen coverages right now.
Here's Mitchell on the handoff, bounce pass. Boston one bounce and a left-handed finish. Here's Boston, the offensive rebound, flips inside to Howard who lays it in.
You go step up screen, flare on the weak side. They had to make sure they had the right shot clock time as well while they're reviewing that.
So Indiana with a 10-point lead here, 6 minutes until halftime as Boston finds some space and knocks it down.
After the game, Coach Stephanie White provided an explanation that sparked confusion among spectators. She rested BBY due to defensive mismatch concerns, fearing Washington's lineups would expose her on defense and rebounding. However, this justification is easily disproven. The defense was already in disarray, without BBY on the court. In the fourth quarter, they failed to capitalize on open shots and force Washington to make 14 free throws. Kiki Afen dominated the painting, nevertheless. Despite White's efforts to avoid defensive problems, they occurred. The most ironic statement of the night came from White, who confessed the offense was stuck. Despite having a simple solution on hand, she accurately diagnosed the issue.
I think we over-dribbled at times. Our off-ball movement wasn't there. We did a lot of standing. It's almost like we gave the ball to Kelsey and just tried to watch her work. And that's not when we're at our best. I mean, yes, certainly we want to have the ball in our hands, but we've got to continue to get movement with and without the basketball. It was getting stuck. I mean, we want to play 0.5 to 1 second basketball, and we weren't. And it's got to get moving.
As the instructor explained the issues, one player demanded a solution. Sophie Cunningham's tone was undeniably different as she took the microphone. There were no excuses or complicated explanations. There was just naked, unvarnished honesty. She acknowledged the team's injuries, but refused to use them as a crutch. Then she delivered the line that stated everything. It's time to return to our natural state as dogs. The statement was powerful and directly challenged the team's mentality. She stated that opponents no longer fear them because they are being outworked and out-toughed. It was a call for accountability, recognizing a basic flaw. The coach's focus on strategy was contradicted by a player's emphasis on heart, highlighting a significant mismatch between the locker room and the whiteboard.
With Chloe Bibby tonight, were there thoughts maybe plugging her in to try and spark the offense a little bit, or what was the decision behind not playing her?
Yeah, there were some thoughts. I think that it matched up defensively more than anything with the way that we were going to try to play them, or in some of our switches and things like that. So that was mostly the reason.
And then just with the rotation, was it just those eight or seven that you ran with? Was it just they were flowing well and you wanted to just leave that going, or what was the thought there?
Yeah, I think some of it was defense. Being able to execute the type of defensive coverages that we wanted to have against this, the way that they play.
To appreciate the frustration, consider who is not on the court. The Fever were playing without their backcourt basis. Caitlin Clark stayed out, while Sydney Carlson and Ari McDonald had season-ending injuries in the same week. The club was so depleted that they had to add players on hardship deals, such as Odyssey Sims, to fill out the roster. The context enhances the players' fighting abilities. Boston needed to carry a heavier load. Mitchell's role as a playmaker doubled. Cunningham had to do even more nasty job. Despite having a handicap, they managed to maintain a 13-point lead. However, this reinforces the strategic rigidity, which is unacceptable. When you have a limited roster, it's important to be smarter and more innovative than predictable.
It hurts. I mean, I think we had 8 turnovers for 13 points in the second half as well. So we didn't take care of it.
Indiana with their work cut out for them here. 6-point deficit, just over 5 minutes left to play. Mitchell, feed inside. There's an easy 2 for Boston. Cunningham leans in, thought she'd throw the foul. Boston pulls down the rebound and lays it in.
Coach White described the offense as stuck, which is a big understatement. It was broken. During Washington's run, Indiana's offense became predictable. Give the ball to Kelsey Mitchell and watch her perform against various defenders. Washington did not require a complicated plan to halt it. They used paint to create a wall and predict the ball's path. Mitchell had to take contested shots while her teammates watched. This was not a fluid system failure. There was no system. A shooter is an effective solution to a congested paint. The defense must respect a guy who makes them spread out. Chloe BBY, the antidote, was sitting on the bench and used. The offense wasn't just stuck. It was deliberately strangled by its own coach.
And I think it was something like a 22-7 run, the end of the second, beginning of the third quarter. And those are hard to recover from when anytime really, but when you're missing pieces. And, we've got to make sure that we're sharper at times. We don't have the margin to have lulls within quarters. And then I believe they had something like 21 points from free throw line and turnovers of their 26 in the fourth. And, we control that defending without fouling. We control that taking care of the basketball, decision making at times. And some of it's, playing some people out of position, and some of it's just not being, valuing the basketball in the way that we need to value it, being a little sloppy with it.
Bullies are way inside.
What a pass by Melbourne, too. Really nice.
Mitchell turns on the Jets and gets to the rim.
No one can keep Kemper is one of the best rebounders out of her area, which means the ball not directly above her head is Cunningham with a steal.
Cunningham feeds Sims, who goes coast to coast and lays it in. So 4 quick ones for Indiana.
Fans are frustrated by the loss because it feels so familiar. This is not a one-time meltdown. This is a repeating pattern for the Fever under Stephanie White. Despite showing moments of brilliance, this club consistently fails to respond to adversity. In a playoff race, it's crucial to avoid losing games to lower-tier opponents. These losses are the deciding factor between playoff and lottery clubs at the end of the season. Players expect in-game solutions and strategic leadership, but instead receive post-game explanations. The loss poses an important question. Is this leadership capable of elevating a talented roster, or is it hindering progress?